Welcome back to another episode of the Game Language Podcast, where we deduce, dissect, and discuss video games and whether or not they speak our language. I'm Troy, and with me always is
Jason.
What's up, man?
Oh, waking up early, double coffeed up on a Sunday.
Boy, am I tired. Oh, God. If I fall asleep during the episode, just, snap your fingers at me or something. Try to wake me up. Throw something at me because I'm slipping away. But what you been playing lately?
Oh, man. Well, I've been gone, so I was up in Washington for a week.
So you've been playing Life.
Been playing Life. Yeah, exactly. But when I got back, it's just been Monster Hunter Rise on PC.
Yeah.
I've been having an absolute blast, and I've also just only played like 2 to 3 hours, but Dragon Quest 3, the HD 2D remake that just came out. Well, yeah, what about you? What you been playing?
Monster Hunter. It's like the bugs got us. It's so hard to do anything else. I come home, I grind. This is a little bit further than we made it when we played on Switch. Mm-hmm. So all of it is now new to me, and I'm really enjoying it. There's like these anomaly fights that are really fun to do. But yeah, I just got the bug, and I can't stop thinking about playing Monster Hunter Rise. I think it's thanks to Wilds.
Yeah, I definitely think it was like Wilds, and we playing it on PC also has been a new experience.
Yeah, the slow-mo mod is so good. It is so good. I want that in every Monster Hunter I play from now on.
I know. I never want the camera to go away and look at the monster. No, you stay on me and show me that slow-mo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do want to get back to Dragon Age though. I still need to finish that.
Same. I was enjoying my time with it. I just couldn't help but playing Monster Hunter Rise.
Yeah, that and Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, Call of Duty's been a good time.
But let's find out what's going on in the world of gaming with our 3 bites of news. Starting with a pretty interesting one. Sony's going the Microsoft route. Sony's attempting to purchase From Software's parent company, Kadokawa. Now, one thing that's crazy about this is I don't think this is a bid to get FromSoft. I think Sony bought Crunchyroll and Funimation. Kadokawa is one of the biggest anime distributors in Japan. So I think this is more of a play for the media side of Sony. But the problem is they get FromSoft if they get Kadokawa. And I don't want that. I loved Sony and PlayStation, Sony and FromSoft's like collaborations, like especially with Bloodborne. But I don't ever want to have a game that from FromSoft that doesn't go to PC now. And I fear, because they still haven't given us Demon Souls or Bloodborne, I think that they hold those games way too tight to their chest. But moving on to the next piece of news, though. Ubisoft has released an overhaul patch for Star Wars Outlaws, eliminating around 90% of the stealth requirements amongst other changes, such as bugs and fixes.
Was stealth really bad for people?
Yeah, it was one of the major critique points because it was forced stealth. Your whole mission fails if you get detected. And that would happen on a lot of missions. And the stealth isn't that good, especially since like the enemy AI is like really stupid. So it was either brain dead boring, or it was like, as you're doing brain dead boring, if one of them like somehow sees you, you have to redo the whole thing. So they seem to have gotten rid of almost all of those except for the main story missions that it makes sense that you shouldn't be detected.
Yeah.
So I watched someone test it. It looks good. Looks better. But it still looks like Star Wars Outlaws to me. So I'm not really all in. I don't think I would want to touch that game until they like update the combat.
Is the story good in that game?
I've heard it mixed.
Mixed?
I haven't heard it's like... No one said it's great. But some people say it's good in the back half, and then some people say it's not worth it in the back half. So
interesting.
That's been the reviews that's like what I've heard. Obviously, I don't have a take on it because I didn't play it, and I didn't watch it fully. I've just watched a lot of impressions and reviews. But I will say, if you were like mad at the stealth and you own Star Wars Outlaws, I've heard it's good enough to like try it again. If you were interested in it, you might like it better now with the fixes. And then our last bit of news. The surprise. The Golden Joysticks Game of the Year awards happened. And Black Myth Wukong won the Ultimate Game of the Year. That was shocked me.
Did they say why, or?
So it's community voted.
Yeah.
So a lot of people loved Wukong. And in fairness, it's one of the game like that and Shadow of the Erdtree are probably like the most talked about games of the year. At least in positive circles. So I love Astrobot, but not nearly as many people played Astrobot as they did Wukong.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good for them. I liked Wukong, but I definitely didn't think it was Game of the Year. But yeah, congratulations to him. That's really amazing, especially for a company's first video game.
Yeah.
I like. Pretty impressed. But that's going to be it for the news.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing things a little bit different this episode. So we do have a lot to talk about. One of those things is Arcane. We just got to watch the finale of that last night, so we want to go over that, and then afterwards we'll be going over the all of the nominations for the Game Awards. So we won't be having a variety section, but first we're just going to be jumping deep into Arcane.
Season 2.
Season 2. Yeah, Season 2. Well, I guess because it's the finale, let's kind of encapsulate the entire thing and go over like how we felt about it, and how it landed.
You're asking me to go back 2 years.
But how did you feel about Season 2 overall?
I actually liked it. I don't think it hit as hard as Season 1.
I feel the same.
But I still think, I guess if I had to like put, not like a rating number, but I think it kept about 90%, 85 to 90% of the specialness of Season 1. Like, I still loved the animation. I still loved the performances. I still liked the music, even though I'm not an Imagine Dragons fan.
Yeah.
I definitely don't have that much hate. It's probably because I don't listen to them. So they don't sound quite as like overdone whenever I hear it. That was just funny. We did a watch party, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, for the finale. And just the amount of hatred when that intro came on, I'm just like, man, y'all, I don't think this sucks.
And that's like their good song. Like, no, but I understand as an Imagine Dragons fan, and I liked them a lot from like when they first started coming out. I can understand why people dislike them, but for some reason they don't bother me that much. But I do think "Enemy" is a great song. So
yeah, I thought that was good. I think just like overall thoughts, it was really good. There's just a couple of questionable things they did. But we'll get more into that. But overall, I'd say I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think that it didn't hit as hard as Season 1 did. I thought that Season 1 was a very tight, very specific story. And this one, they started adding a lot more different characters, a lot of different motivations. And some of the results kind of pandered out a little bit worse. And this doesn't mean that it was overall bad in any way. It just was not. It's really hard to like do a 10 and then do it again. You know? Like it's really, really hard to do that. And unfortunately they didn't, but they still did great. So I think that it was amazing. Well, I'd have to say definitely it doesn't change. Echo is my favorite character in the show.
Yeah, he's still my favorite.
He's the coolest character. He's the least motivationally confusing character. So
I will say though, the only thing that was sad to me about Echo is that his screen time was like so little until we got to episode 7. I was like,
that's how it was in the first season too. Like he just disappeared, and then episode 7, it's like his episode, which I love because that's my favorite number, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't know. He seemed like such an important character to this, like Piltover and Zwan, but I feel like he never shines until like the end.
Yeah. Yeah, but so I kind of wanted to go through each of the arcs themselves. What are they? We had chapters and we had parts, I believe. I can't remember how they named it when they broke it up, but we'll go through like episode 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 1, 2, and 3 as a whole, like obviously in season 1, 2, and 3 was like so good. I think that's what got everybody to start watching the show is those first 3 episodes. They told such a compelling story, had a crazy ending. It is very like emotionally like gripping. How did you feel about 1, 2, and 3 in season 2?
I think that's where the strength. I mean, that's probably their weakest part for me.
Yeah.
Well, this or part 2, but I'll stick to part 1 for right now. Part 1, the only thing was, and I don't fault them for it. It's the problem of continuing a story and starting up is that a lot of it was catch up and setup.
Yep.
And there was a lot of characters I just wasn't interested in that were like new. They got owned pretty quickly, honestly. Like, they left as soon as they came in almost. So I just was a little more disoriented with the way that they were handling the transition from season 1's, climactic finale. But yeah, I really liked how they did the fallout of the bombing from Jinx. That was probably the highlight. But it was all the Zwan underground stuff was just it looked cool. Yeah, but I wasn't interested.
I understand. Really quick, I do want to give spoiler warning. I think we're going to be talking about some specific details. So I feel that way too. It kind of started off in a way where I wasn't getting what I had hoped when it started, mainly because when season 1 ended, there were a lot of specific questions I had, things I wanted, not just revenge against Jinx, but just certain things I wanted to happen, and they kind of took me on a whole different tale. Victor's whole situation with him getting put into the the egg, essentially. Yeah, that was something I wasn't really interested in at first, because I kind of just wanted to hear his perception. I wanted to hear him talk about certain things, and so they kind of put him away for I want to say an episode and a half. So at first I wasn't really digging it, and I was afraid that this was going to be a poor season based off the first 3 episodes, because it was all kind of set up, but it did pay off.
Yeah, I was going to say there was also one thing that they introduced with the beginning that still stayed a complaint through the whole thing for me, was the self-indulgence of Studio Fortiche.
Yeah, the music videos.
Yeah, this is a very talented animation studio, so I don't want it to sound like I am hating on them at all. But I think the critical reception they got and all the praise went to their head a little bit, because they went absolutely buck wild with this shit. Every episode had at least one music video, if not multiple.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny you say that. I think that with the episode runtimes, I would have preferred an extra 5 minutes of storytelling rather than the music videos, because they kind of took away from what was already a short amount of time where we had a lot to wrap up, when no one would have guessed that this season would have been the end of Arcane.
Yeah, I actually think that if they wanted to go the music video route, I wish they just would have gotten rid of intros and used those as the intros to the episodes. But I mean, Enemy's a banger, so you got to play it. But.
Yeah. I agree. That's one thing that I would say is not a complaint, but I would have wished that they got a new song for the intro. I did really, really like what they did with Enemy, with Imagine Dragons. I would have loved if they got together with Linkin Park and made a new intro, something along those lines.
Especially since they did it. Mm-hmm. They did Heavy as the Crown.
Yep.
And they did a great rendition of it.
Yeah, they could have just used that rendition of it. Mm-hmm. Heavy as a Crown would have been a great song to tie into the show, and then also, you just use it as your world's song, so it could have been a great song for the new era. So, that was just a small wish, not a complaint, just a wish, because I still like their intro. I even found out by the end of the at the last 3 episodes, there were changes throughout the intro if we would have watched it carefully. So there were little hints here and there, Jinx with her hair down, other just little things, Vi with her face X'd out in Echoes on episode 7. So there's cool little things like that in the intro. So I liked it. Just would have liked a different song. But so that with that, how did you feel about episodes 4, 5, and 6? So we had 1, 2, and 3. Things were kind of more of a setup, where I did like some of the direction they were going, but I felt a little empty. 4, 5, and 6, do you feel like they did well? And
yeah, I actually, to be completely honest, because I was so late to watching 4, 5, and 6, because I watched it the same day as the last 3 episodes as well. Just hearing everyone's reactions, I was actually expecting it to be a bit worse. Yeah. But I actually thought they did really good with those episodes. There was a lot better choreography in the fights. I think that the storylines, because I don't want to get too much into spoilers, but I think the storylines that they started to act on in the middle part were paying off for me. Yeah. I liked the character relationships a lot too. They developed really well in 4, 5, and 6. My only complaint with 4, 5, and 6 is, and this isn't a major spoiler, but they do another time skip. Yeah. And they do not do a good job of conveying that
How much
passage
time?
of time.
Yes.
Like, at all. And so I didn't even know. I had a second guess myself just because there was like 2 lines that talked about it. And I was like, dude, has it been that amount of time?
Yeah.
And then I remember you even being shocked when I like pointed that out and was like, oh, well, you wouldn't tell based on what the characters look like. Like, some people got some makeovers, but I'm like, dude, you could do that in 30 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I feel that way. I don't really like a vague time skip at all, unless it's unless maybe there's a reason to it. How do I say this? Like, say there's a show or something where there's a bunch of time traveling, and then you get like a vague time skip because you've been fed so much information on what times they're going to, and now it's like poignant that the fact that you don't know the time that they skipped. But this time, I think it was really important to know how much time, because it would have given me a better understanding of what each character had gone through and kind of have more weight to what they went through.
I was also going to say that amount of time wasn't also reflected in every character evenly. Yeah. Not to get into spoilers too, like, again, but I think characters like Mel didn't look like that amount of time had passed at all.
Yeah.
It looked like maybe a day.
Yeah. Mel always looks the same. Well, normally until recently.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I think that big falter was most of the time I was trying to figure out how much time had passed. Once I got past that, I did enjoy just what the story was leading up to. I started to get more involved or emotionally connected to certain characters. I do want to talk about like episode 6. How did you feel? Did it like tug at your heartstrings at all?
Yeah.
At the end?
I thought the last 6 episodes were all pretty emotional for me.
Or sorry, I meant like 4, 5, and 6 at the episode 6 at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was really good. I thought they did a great job with that whole characters.
Yeah. I won't jump too much into it, but it I ended up caring about somebody who I thought I wasn't going to, which was cool. So
that's how I felt as well. There's a lot of characters that my opinion changed quite dramatically from the first 3 episodes of season 2 to the end of season 2. Yeah. I mean, that was kind of another thing that Arcane's always done well, is that the characters are very well written. This is one of those few shows where, like, because I have the complaint that a lot of TV shows and like games even, bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
I've been feeling like a lot of the writing's been kind of like weak in a lot of shows, distractingly so.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that with Arcane. It was such a breath of fresh air to have like dialogue that sounded natural, that had a bit of edge and bite to it. Like, characters just felt good. Like, I really liked Echo a lot. Yeah. He was a character that it was nice. It was just, he was very well represented for how nice of a character he used to be, having gone through all the stuff he's done. I liked how he had a bit of edge, but still wanted to help people.
Yeah.
I really like that about characters in Arcane, is that they are able to make mistakes. No one's like really perfect in the series, except maybe Heimerdinger.
Yeah. Well, like, even Heimerdinger makes mistakes in the sense that, I mean, he was right about waiting, because Hextech is dangerous, and they still went forward with it. And guess what? It was dangerous.
Yeah, shocker.
Yeah, so maybe listen to the 1,000-year-old little man. He's probably speaking some knowledge. But I feel like even he made mistakes on his judgment on how he conveyed information to humans. I think that he didn't really talk to them from a perspective so that they can understand. He just said, just trust me. And like, no, you're not going to trust somebody if they just say that.
He always underestimates them too.
Yeah.
I did like that. I liked how he was able to be his, the 1,000-year-old guy was able to be wrong.
Yeah.
Especially by a character I liked. So,
so getting into, and I guess, how do you feel about that character, Jace's journey? Do you feel like,
Jace?
Yeah, up to episode 6, was it understandable what he was going through? Was it believable?
I really liked Jace. I'm very surprised to hear how many people disliked him.
Yeah.
I found him to be one of the more compelling characters. Him, Echo, and Vi, and Jinx, I think, are probably the top 4 favorites for me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Jace's journey made a lot of sense. They made it a bit disorienting in 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
But it was on purpose.
Yeah.
I felt like I thought it was well done.
Yeah.
Because it made me confused.
So taking that into 7, 8, and 9, which I think was important, and by the end of 6 was, what the hell is he doing? Why is he doing that? Like, I don't understand. And then they go ahead and explain right away, which I thought they would. And then it made everything he did make sense, and I understood the weight of it. So this one I do kind of want to get into spoilers because I feel like it needs to be talked about. So I'll let you kind of start.
With Jace?
Yeah, with
Okay.
Jace.
With the spoilers. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I really liked Jace's journey. His is one of those ones that was frustrating to experience at first, but the payoff was worth it.
Yeah.
Made the frustration. Because, for spoilers, he comes back. There's a huge event that happens at the end of episode 3 that takes him away, like to another world, essentially. He is gone that whole time, and you don't get to see that journey until 7, 8, and 9. So in 4, 5, and 6, you get to see the aftermath of what happened with his journey. Spoilers, he got super hot with his beard and longer hair. Coolest looking Jace I've seen. And he's just like metal as hell. Got like an infected hammer. And then he comes back and you're just like, wait, what's he doing? He's just like, he murders a guy. And I was like, well, I hate that guy. So, and then everything's going right for our other characters. And then he ruins it by taking out Victor. And I was like, dude, what the hell? Didn't make any sense to me. And I was just like, I'm not liking you right now, but this is a story. I got to find out why. And then when I found out why, it's because everything he went through in that other world was essentially the apocalyptic version of what will happen if we lose in the current timeline.
Yep.
And it was all caused by Victor. So it makes sense that I don't know how else. It's kind of like Dragon Ball Z when Trunks comes and kills, Frieza from the future out of nowhere. And you're just like, who's this guy who just one-shots people? And I'm like, yeah, now it makes sense. There's some time travel shenanigans.
Yeah.
But I will say, just for the spoiler part, your last chance, if you are still here and don't want to be spoiled, it being Victor being the one that asked him to go back and destroy him, essentially, was the coolest twist for me. I really loved that.
Yeah.
Because it made more sense why Jace would be willing to do that to his best friend. Because their friendship was one of the coolest aspects of both seasons of this show for me.
I agree. Seeing them start being friends and then seeing where their relationship goes was really cool and believable. I did not expect them to be that close to each other.
Right.
So much so that, like, in the end, they're still together. And I think that that's really cool because we've had a little bit of lore here and there between Jace and Victor when we'd play League of Legends, right? And so it was fun to go top lane against a Victor or something. You'd be like, hey, nice to see you here. There's always that fun when you go against a character who's opposing your character in the story. But this adds even more of that weight. I think that Arcane adds even more of that feeling of story behind the characters that you're playing as. And so anytime I see a Jace versus a Victor, it's going to be bittersweet thanks to the show. And I like that. It was their relationship was one of my favorite things too. Yeah. I do think that in agreement, like Victor being the one to give him that and tell him, like, you have to destroy me so you can stop this from happening. Kind of leads me to like want to know how many different universes have been created because of their actions, and how many are going to be explored because of their actions if they continue to make shows like this,
Americans.
Yeah, we love time.
We can't get away from time travel and multiverse.
Yeah, we can't help it.
What's better than making original characters than just making 30 versions of them? I hate it.
Yeah, I don't. This is just there's a lot more that we could talk about when it comes to the show. All I can say is please watch it. It's very good. If you were spoiled, apologies. If you still want to watch it despite the spoilers, please do. It's very good. But overall, I just want to say Echo's the coolest character in League of Legends. It's been solidified. He had the coolest pop off like last minute buzzer beater like situation. That he's the coolest character.
I was gonna say, I did want to. What were your thoughts on 7, 8, and 9, and how the season wrapped up?
I think it wrapped up pretty well. I think that my biggest complaint was just that there weren't a few more characters from League of Legends fit into the series. I think that there was room for it, especially if this was the middle and then we had 9 more episodes. I will stand by that. I wish we had 9 more episodes.
Okay, I was gonna say I would have disagreed with you heavily on the characters if the seasons were the same length.
No.
If we got another season, I actually agree with you. But I think there was it straddled the line for me with too many characters. Already.
By this, the last couple episodes, I think that there were too many non-league characters for me. Especially with one specific character who was with the Black Rose. Their reveal didn't really mean anything to me because it didn't look like who I wanted it to look like. There's a few characters there's a few situations where they could fit league characters in there to make a little bit more sense and at least hit in a way that like was emotional to the players who came from league. Like there's a specific guy with like a braid and a beard who has been friends with Vi, who is not that moving or important as a new character, but if he would have existed as a league character, maybe his ending could have been a little bit changed and he would have meant more when he came around. But he doesn't really mean anything.
I was gonna say that's probably one of the weakest aspects to me was the Black Rose storyline. Yeah. I thought that was stupid, to be honest.
It didn't help anything.
No. Yeah, I literally felt like it was just some random ass shit just thrown in.
Yep.
I was like, cool visual effects. What?
It's like, why? But if you would have introduced another character, and then that could have led to us gleaning on a little bit of what might happen if they continue these sort of like animated series and we go further into the Black Rose, this would be a great introduction to a league character to the show who gets a little bit of a spotlight, and we can look forward to them in the future. Because I do believe that we're going to see more shows like Arcane.
I'm pretty sure the director confirmed that.
Yeah.
They're just not going to do Piltover Swan.
And that's fine. And I think even Caitlin asked Vi, like, are you still in the fight? So we might still see more Vi or some of these specific characters from this series in other places. There's a lot of possibilities. But yeah, I think that the Black Rose, just like at the very last point when they needed to provide some type of like connection, they dropped the ball.
Yeah, I agree. I will say this. I do think that it wrapped up too quickly.
Yeah.
I felt like the last episode could have used like an additional 15 minutes to epilogue people out a little bit better. I kind of just felt like, because it's finality.
Yeah.
I don't like when stories are like brief on their endings. Sorry, I'm a big fan of Return of the King, where you give me like an hour of everyone's epilogue. But this one was like 3 minutes after the big battle, which the big battle was amazing. I actually thought it was actually very well done. But I did not like, I didn't like how fast and brief it felt to wrap it up, especially as a finale. Yeah,
I actually agree with that. Again, it having less episodes than I had hoped and wrapping up more briefly than I had hoped. Just, it's like I had something so great and it got snatched away from me.
Yeah. It kind of like hurts that it doesn't feel as finished, even though it is finished. When you wrap it up that briefly, I can't help but want more of it.
Yeah.
But it's not in like the Breaking Bad way where I feel like that story is like so well told. I don't want any more episodes, but I would rather rewatch it. Arcane, if I rewatch it, I'm actually afraid that I'm just going to get more sad that there's not going to be more. And so that's a little bit of a disappointment for me as well.
Yeah. If they can confirm and give me a trailer sometime in the next year or two of another show, maybe it's not called Arcane, but it's from the same animation studio, Fortiche, same like method of 3 episodes a week, and I know that that's coming, then I'll be able to watch Arcane with a little less like a little less of a hold on it. because I'm holding it so tightly because I think that it's the only thing I'm going to get of this quality. But if I get confirmation that I'll get something else of the same quality, then I won't be so disappointed.
Yeah. One last question before we wrap up Arcane. I would feel it would be a disservice to not talk about these two characters, the heart of the show. How did you feel about Vi and Jinx throughout season 2?
I thought that for me, I felt like I liked their story for the most part. I feel like there was one or two unbelievable paradigm shifts where like I feel like Jinx went from bad to good too quickly, and Vi went from like what's the word, dependable to sort of undependable too quickly.
She felt like a loose cannon sometimes.
Yeah, definitely felt like a loose cannon. I don't think in any universe, no matter how bad things happen with me and my brother or any of one of my brothers or sisters, that I would ever like let him go the way that she did. If in the end she's going to feel so like not emotional, but so moved or like strongly attached to them, because at the end she still felt like really attached to Jinx, and she's like, I can't let you go. And that's where I would be with my brother or sister all the time. At no point would I like my new boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, like say in that universe, be like, hey, they suck. And I'd be like, yeah, they do suck. I'm not going to do it.
It was one of the more aggravating tropes that they decided to go with, was trying to trick us into thinking Vi actually has enough chutzpah to kill her sister. I found that to just be irritating because, of course, she wasn't. I was like, when the time comes, Vi, are you going to be able to do it? Yeah, I'll do it. No, you won't. No, you goddamn won't.
I wouldn't have said yes. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, I know. It's just, you see that in almost every story that has like siblings fighting each other. And I'm just like, just to see them do it as a trope, I was just like, God damn it. It would have been way more believable if like Caitlyn just like rifle butted her right before they go into the battle, being like, I know you wouldn't have it. So, found that irritating, but, I feel like it paid off at the end, but I also agree with you though that like it was such a weird shift how, and I talked to you about it actually while we were watching the show, but I felt it was very strange to have Jinx portrayed the way she was, as awful as she was. Like we got the perspectives of all the people and victims that she hurt, and then to just like immediately do the time skip, which was vague, and then be like, she's the savior of Zwan, and like going to a messiah figure. That was really weird.
Yeah, I agree. I understand how people in Zon might look up to her, because Zon is grimy. Yeah. And you can kill a bunch of people and people still look up to you. Soko, enough people looked at him and he looked up to him, and he even would like punish his own people, So I understand Zon looking up to her, but when the show portrays her in such a light that it can sometimes be confusing. I don't think the show did a good job of showing us that she's idolized, but she shouldn't be. It was just that she's idolized now.
Well, so I think that's also one of the big issues with the time skip.
Yeah.
Jinx changed in the time skip, but we didn't get to see it. We saw the effects of it. And I think it's another, problem with having a short runtime, is that for a character that's one of the major characters to not to see that growth, not to see the pain points. It was just like, well, you're just supposed to believe that in this passage of time, now that she's with this little girl, and after, she got kind of beat up a little bit in the previous tussle, that she reflected. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like Jinx, but her actions make it seem wise, because she was a lot better. She was a lot more reluctant to be violent. She wasn't violent she stopped being Jinx essentially during the time skip. But we didn't really get that, especially with how like passionate and driven like Caitlyn was to still find her after because it was a long time. Their time skip was a year, they said in the few lines. I still don't believe that.
Yeah.
But other than that sounds like a lot of complaints. So I just want to say I still loved Vi and Jinx. There was a little bit of a rough patch getting to their like conclusion, but I love this. As older brother. I love siblings, and I love sibling stories.
Yeah.
So I was incredibly happy with how it ended.
Yeah.
Well, the journey that we got there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I liked their journey together. Although I had certain gripes, and I wonder if I'm biased. I'm interested to rewatch the whole series from start to finish at some point because I know I will. I wonder what my opinions of it will be, because I am extremely biased when it comes to League of Legends and Riot. So we'll see. We'll see if I change. Ask me again in a year and see if I change my mind. But I think that's about all we had for like Arcane season 2. You know, you got to go watch it, the whole thing if you haven't seen it. There's a lot of people who came to our watch party who had never watched Arcane at all, and I was surprised. So yeah,
it was awesome.
Please watch it. And with that, we're going to go for a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the Game Award nominees. Jason brought a game, and I'm excited to talk about it because I love this game. And we'll see you guys shortly.
Welcome back. Hope you had a good little break. We are going to get right into the Game Awards nominees for the Year of Our Gaming Lord 2024.
This is a pretty hot topic.
Now, we're going to start from the bottom category and go all the way to the top because, you know, we want to leave it with the good stuff with Game of the Year. So, let's start with Best Esports Team. And I'm glad this is the lowest on the list. Recognizing a specific esports team, not the full organization, judged the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2024. Our nominees are Billy Gaming for League of Legends, Gen G, League of Legends, Navi for Counter-Strike, T1 for League of Legends, and Team Liquid for Dota 2. Out of all of these, I only watched T1.
Yep.
And yeah, they got my vote.
Yeah, T1 got my vote because I know that Gen G and Billy. I know Gen G and Billy Gaming. You guys didn't have a music video where you're the kings wearing the crown or win worlds. So I'm giving it to T1. Then they got Faker on the team. So
which is going to lead us right into the next nominee category: Best Esports Athlete. The esports athlete judged to be the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2024, irrespective of game. Number 1, 33. I guess that's their gamer tag. Okay, that's a little weird. Neta. I'm going to just use their gamer tag. 33. Alexib. Chovy. Faker. Zaiwu. And ZMJJKK. Oh, I added an extra K in there. ZMJJKK. That's it. Okay. Yeah, that would have been really bad if you had.
yeah.
The vote's going to Faker.
Yeah.
I don't even like League of Legends, and I watched Worlds, and I was like, yeah, that guy's a god at this game. Yeah. And I don't even know how to play this game.
No, Faker is... Anytime I get to vote for Faker, I will. Even if he's having a bad season, I don't think I've seen a esports athlete get that much recognition.
Yeah, same here. He really is he transcends most of them. But moving on to the next category, we're in the esports category of the Game Awards. Best esports game. For the game that has delivered the best overall esports experience to players, inclusive of tournaments, community support, and content updates, irrespective of genre or platform. And the nominees are Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and Valorant. I'm going to be completely real with you. I think this is a horseshit list. How are you not going to have a single fighting game on here?
Yeah, I understand.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Dude, fuck you, Jeff. Seriously, No. We had 1 million viewers on EVO. That was incredible.
Yeah, no, I do think that fighting games need to be better represented in the esports area. I guess we're not big enough yet, but I don't know. Hopefully soon.
What the hell is Mobile Legends Bang Bang?
You don't know about Mobile Legends Bang Bang, bro?
No.
It's Mobile Legends Bang Bang. It's like the shit. I don't know shit about Mobile Legends.
I was going to say, I only watched one of these, so my vote would go to League of Legends, but that feels wrong.
Yeah, definitely gave it to League, just because it was their World's year. They put on a pretty good show. Yeah, I give it to League.
Oh, man. Yeah, gotta give it to League. All right, going to the next category, which is not esports, but still not exactly game-related, Content Creator of the Year. For a streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2024. Our nominees are Casio, Illo1, Techo Gamers, Typical Gamer, and USADA Pecora. Also, Typical Gamer, wow, that is I can't believe you got that. That's like getting Ordinary Gamer or just another gamer. It's crazy. Good for you. I've never heard of you. I don't know who to vote for this. I think I would just give it to USADA Pecora.
Yeah, I think I'd give it to USADA Pecora for the bit, with it being a
VTuber.
A VTuber. Now, I'm not the biggest Kai Cenat fan, but I do think he deserves a little bit more recognition in the gaming space with all the streams he's done, with it, all the Elden Ring stream, or not Elden, but the FromSoft streams. He's made some pretty huge waves when it comes to introducing people to gaming through FromSoft because of his streams. Yeah.
I just wonder, I wonder what their criteria is, because he was the biggest news one of the year for sure. But I've also watched a lot of his streams, and a vast majority have nothing to do with video games. So I'm wonder if that's probably the reason he's not getting a nod here.
It's true.
But I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, now we can actually get to games. The next category is Most Anticipated Game, recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. And the nominees are Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds. So,
was this a tough one for you?
It was. So I'm more excited for Monster Hunter Wilds, which is what I will vote for. But I do think GTA 6 is going to win.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely voted for Monster Hunter Wilds for personal reasons, because I don't ever play any of the GTA games. But yeah, GTA 6 has got to be probably the most anticipated game right now.
Yeah.
For the vast majority.
I mean, they keep ruining gaming events by having people from the audience be like, "Where's GTA 6?" I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be that one. But yeah, excited for all those games, honestly. But on to the next category, Best Adaptation. Recognizing an outstanding creative work that faithfully and authentically adapts a video game to another entertainment medium. And the nominees are Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon Yakuza, and Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. To be honest with you, this one's toss-up between Arcane and Fallout for me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Fallout.
Yeah, I understand that. I feel like Fallout was a damn near perfect show. And I love Arcane personally, but I think that with some of the flaws, I can understand why people would want Fallout. I personally am going for Arcane, but I feel like you can't go wrong with either choice.
I was gonna say, I still think Arcane was still tighter for me, so I would still give it to that, even though I really enjoyed Fallout. And you know what's great? Both of these had Ella Purnell, so
that is true.
But yeah, I'd give it to Arcane as well. On to the next category, Best Multiplayer. For outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. And the nominees are Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. For me, my vote goes to Helldivers 2. But that's only because, it's not because of anything. I think it was the best multiplayer game of the year.
Yeah. I think that it took the world by storm. As much as I do love Warhammer, most of the time you can only play with 3 people. And playing with 3 people already frustrates me because you normally have 4 friends, or there's 4 total people that want to play together. So, and Helldivers let you play with 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll give it to Helldivers.
I'll say Helldivers was also new. I love Call of Duty. I love Tekken. And I even love Space Marine 2, but it felt old. Helldivers felt like a new experience for me. But it was also one of my first extraction shooters that I've ever played. So.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next category. Best sports/racing game. Where's my Mario Kart at? For the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing games. The nominees are F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, no longer FIFA, NBA 2K25, Topspin 2K2. They made a new Topspin?
Nice.
Wow. And then WWE 2K24. Sorry, that actually threw me off. I've heard of Topspin. I played it on 360.
Yeah.
So I was like, I did not know they made a new one.
They made a new one. And they're using the same two characters that I normally play as.
I actually don't know who to give it to on this one, honestly. I don't like any of these games.
Yeah.
And I don't think I played any.
I'm going to give it to Topspin just because I like Topspin. I need to play more sports or racing games.
I would say, for a joke, I would give it to Topspin, but I would say I also don't feel comfortable, as someone who didn't touch a single one of these games, giving anything. Moving on to the next category. Best sim/strategy game. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. And the nominees are Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord. As a Capcom fan, I'd want to give it to Kunitsugami, but I would give this one to Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah, I'll have to give mine to Unicorn Overload. I did play some Kunitsugami, and it was fun. But Unicorn Overlord kind of has been making waves.
Yeah, I was gonna say I also played it with my brother and watched it, and yeah, that's a very good game if you're into strategy games.
Yeah.
So, all right. Moving on to the next category is Best Family. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. And the nominees are Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire. My vote goes to Astrobot.
I think that's a safe vote. I think it's I'd have to give mine to Astrobot 2 just from what I've seen. It's a cool new platform. So I can't wait to play it, and if I had kids, I'd show it to them.
Yeah. I think Astrobot's also great for all ages.
Yeah.
It's just a great game. But moving on to the next category, Best Fighting Game. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. And the nominees are Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Multiverses, and Tekken 8. I will say, the two games on here that don't make sense is Multiverses and Marvel. Multiverses already won Best Fighting Game of the Year 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know why it's allowed to run again.
They just redid the game, right?
Yeah, but it's still Multiverses.
Yeah.
That'd be like putting Street Fighter 6's beta in here, it winning, and then being like, well, now the real game's out. Let's give it to Street Fighter 6 again.
Yeah, I agree.
So I do not like that.
Yeah, and I don't like Marvel Fighting versus Capcom Fighting Arcade Collection because those are games that just got ported, essentially, so that we can play them. And the collection itself, I have issues with the collection. I would not have voted it as best anything because there are too many limitations on it.
Yeah, there was also a lot of other games that came out, like Rivals of Ether 2, and like new fighting games. So feels a little wrong to put that there. But irrespective of the controversy, my vote's going to Tekken 8.
Yeah, I think Tekken 8 is a pretty great fighting game package.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful game. Next, Best RPG. For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. And the nominees are Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor ReFantasio. This is a tough one for me. Mm-hmm. I did not vibe with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as many people did, so it's not my vote. Mm-hmm. But I also feel wrong giving it to Shadow of the Erdtree when it's an expansion over the game that I like, which is Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah.
But I think Shadow of the Erdtree is better than Dragon's Dogma 2, as much as I hate to admit that, because I love Dogma. So I would probably have to give it to Elden Ring.
Yeah, I understand.
For me, what would you give it to?
Yeah, so I won't give it to Elden Ring on any of them because it is a DLC, and I think that the games that are brand new should be the ones that we are looking at, not anything that's just an expansion. We need a section for this could win best ongoing game or something along those lines because it's an expansion. Dragon's Dogma 2, as much as I wanted to play it, I couldn't play it because of its performance. But I keep hearing great things about Metaphor ReFantazio. Like, just everyone talks about how much they love it. That's probably the one I'd give it to from the little bit that I played in the demo, what I've watched.
You wouldn't give it to Rebirth, even though you've played that?
I love Rebirth, but bias gets me through that game. so I'm not going to give it to that yet. I need to see the full package of Rebirth, specifically because I've been playing it, and no, I wouldn't give it to it in the current state that I've played.
Gotcha. No, I agree with you. Yeah, I feel more comfortable giving Best RPG to Shadow of the Erdtree in this section, because Witcher 3 also won this before with Blood and Wine.
Blood and Wine.
But not to spoil anything, but there's another list it's on that I don't agree with. Mm-hmm. We're more in line on that. But let's move on to the next category. Best Action and Adventure. For the best action/adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. The nominees are Astrobot, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. I would give this to Astrobot, personally.
I would say Astrobot is a clear winner here, with only thing that is second to it in this category for me would be Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. I've watched a lot of that game, played the demo, and the only reason I don't own it is because of certain other things I've had to buy. Mm-hmm. But that game, Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, seems like there's a lot of love put into that game.
Yeah, my friend David played it recently, and he adored it.
Yeah.
He beat it all. So, great one. Moving on to the next category, Best Action Game. For the best game in the action genre focused primarily on combat. The nominees are Black Myth: Wukong, Call of Duty: Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, and Warhammer 40K: Space Marine 2. Let's mix it up. What was your pick?
Warhammer.
Warhammer?
Yeah, that was a great action game. There's enough combat in there, melee and ranged combat, where I think that it does fit in the action game genre. Didn't play Wukong because I heard it was, pretty much one button. And Stellar Blade is very good, but I think Warhammer was kind of a standout.
I was going to say, for me, it's Warhammer 40K as well, but that's because of the complete package.
Yeah.
I think if I were to rate based on combat alone, Stellar Blade was the best combat I played this year. But I think that Warhammer 40K, with its co-op, its PvP, and its amazing campaign, I just think altogether was the best action package you could get this year.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next category, Best VR/AR Game. For the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. The nominees are Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, or Metro Awakening. I didn't play any of these.
No. But I saw what you can do in Batman Arkham Shadow, so I give it to Batman.
I'll probably do the same thing, honestly. Yeah, I feel bad. I've played VR while I was up in Washington, but none of those. All right, moving on to the next category, Best Mobile Game. For the best game playable on a mobile device. AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero.
So for this one, I definitely gave my vote to AFK Journey. I've played a lot of AFK Journey.
I gave it to Balatro,
yes,
only because of what I've seen of Balatro.
Yeah.
It looks incredible, like as an addictive mobile experience.
Yeah.
I didn't like Zenless that much.
Yeah.
And I didn't play AFK Journey, so.
I definitely understand giving it to Balatro. If I like card games, I would definitely play this game.
Yeah. On to the next category, a fan favorite, the best debut indie game. For the best debut game created by a new independent studio. And the nominees are Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and The Plucky Squire. What's your vote going to?
Animal Well. It's the one I've seen the most about.
I loved it.
Yeah.
My vote goes to Animal Well as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that game was incredible.
Yeah. Animal Well reminds me of Undertale, where it's just like pure creation or creativity just coming through, and a package that like they have a great vision and they executed the vision really well. So
yeah, that game, the stuff my buddy Nick has found in that game has made me think even more of it, even though I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Next category is Best Independent Game for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. And the nominees are Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50. Mine's still going to Animal Well.
Same.
Best Community Support. Recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates / patches. The nominees are Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky. I actually would give this one to Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes.
Because Larian is very good, and especially with the mod support.
Yep.
Love their community. Next category is Best Ongoing Game, awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. The nominees are Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2. For me, I would go with Helldivers 2 for this year, just because I've been following their content updates, and I have liked them, especially the halfway through the year one.
Yeah.
What would you pick?
I would have to go with Helldivers based off of what I've seen that they've been working on. Yeah, definitely Helldivers 2.
Yeah. Next is Games for Impact, for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. The nominees are Closer the Distance, Indica, Neva, Life is Strange, Double Exposure, Senua Saga, Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzera Zao. I actually didn't play any of these games, but I did watch a few of them, not to completion, but I would give it to Tales of Kenzera.
Yeah, I'd have to do that too. Yeah, I can go into all of that, but I'll go with Tales of Kenzera.
Yeah. Next up, and sorry if we're rushing through this, but there's a lot of nominees. Innovation and accessibility. Recognizing software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology, and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience. The nominees are Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Prince of Persia The Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws. Out of these, it's kind of a toss-up for me between Call of Duty and Dragon Age. They both have incredible accessibility features, but I would probably edge it out to Dragon Age.
Yeah, I'd have to say with Dragon Age. I agree.
Yeah, no, that game is very accessible. Next up, Best Performance, awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and or performance capture. The nominees are Brianna White for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hannah Tell for Life is Strange Double Exposure, Humberly Gonzalez for Star Wars Outlaws, Luke Roberts for Silent Hill 2, and Melina Juergens for Senua Saga Hellblade 2. My vote is Luke Roberts.
Yeah.
He killed it as James.
Really?
One of my favorite performances in the last 5 years of gaming.
Really?
I thought it was incredible.
Okay. I was originally leaning towards Brianna White because I have played Rebirth, but if you think that it was that powerful, I'd probably go with Luke Roberts.
I was going to say I would watch it. I mean, obviously
I've heard it. I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, he really did kill it for me. But I also love Aerith, so no shade, Brianna.
Yeah,
you should get it.
Yeah.
But
it's a toss-up between the two.
Luke really did a good job. The next category is Best Audio Design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. The nominees are Astrobot, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Senua Saga Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2. I'm a little biased. I'd probably give it to Silent Hill 2, just because the noises probably stood out the most to me when it comes to audio.
Yeah.
But I could also see Call of Duty or anything else. Honestly.
Yeah, I'd probably give it to Senua Saga, There's just Hellblade is, I think, unmatched in the sound design aspect. They try to do things that are pushing the like soundscape. So
I would actually agree with that though. So I wouldn't be mad if that wins.
Yeah.
Next category is best score in music for outstanding music inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. The nominees are Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade. My vote goes to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah, the music in that is pretty outstanding.
Say a lot of stuff hasn't been hitting for me in that game, but the music is definitely not one of those. It is the top thing that's hitting for me.
Yeah.
Next up is Best Art Direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. The nominees are Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor ReFantazio, and Neva. If I'm being real honest, my favorite art direction is FromSoft.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help but pick Shadow of the Erdtree.
I don't blame you.
But if we're taking the DLC out, I would give it to Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah, I'd have to give it to Metaphor ReFantazio, just from their like expression on not only the game but the menu, the animated cutscenes. I think I'd give it to Metaphor for sure.
No, I could see that. Atlas does amazing jobs with the Persona team and especially with their UI.
Yeah.
So definitely don't disagree with that. Next up is Best Narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. The nominees are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2. My vote goes to Silent Hill 2.
I was going to say, for this one, I would definitely vote Silent Hill 2 from what I've seen.
Yeah, that story will stick with me for years. Next category is Best Game Direction. Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. The nominees are Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. What would you give it to on this one?
So for game direction, I was actually thinking I would give it to Astrobot. I think that there's a lot of cool things they were doing in the platforming like scene. Mm-hmm. And yeah, from what I've seen you play, what I've watched online, I feel like Astrobot really executed well on like pushing or showcasing the PS5 to its absolute entirety. So
yeah, wow. I'm surprised we agree so much. Astrobot was my pick as well.
Yeah.
I think the design of that game is outstanding. But we're finally made it to Game of the Year. Recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. The nominees are Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. I do not like that Shadow of the Erdtree is here. Even though I really loved that game and that expansion. Elden Ring's probably my favorite game ever. But I can't, in good conscience, give it to it. My vote goes to Astrobot.
Yeah. I think that this one's a little bit based off of bias and what I enjoyed. I would give it to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah.
Just because I do enjoy the game. And again, it might just be bias. I don't think that Elden Ring should be up there, but it's still like if it were the brand new game, Shadow of the Erdtree would be my vote.
Yeah.
Because it's undeniably great. But if we keep giving it to DLCs, then how do like these new games get to be represented properly? You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's not that it doesn't deserve to be there for its quality.
Right.
It as a medium, I don't think we should be putting spotlights on games that are already out.
Yeah.
They like Elden Ring won 2022's Game of the Year.
Yeah. With Game of the Year, I want to talk about a new game, something that started from the ground up.
Yeah. I mean, that's almost like an indictment on this year of gaming is that an expansion is, well, to me, that's the message that gets put across is that like, wow, there wasn't even enough original games that were good enough to fill out the nominees list. And I disagree with that because I think Silent Hill 2 remake and like other games just like deserved a spot there that Elden Ring took.
Yeah.
But again, I was like, just make a category for expansion.
Yeah.
Take out like best esports game. Just
don't do that. Don't take out best esports game.
Do it if you're gonna keep doing bang bang. Just kidding. I don't. I haven't played your game. I don't know if I
Mobile Legends
or
bang bang, bro. That's the game. That's the game. But with that, we want to move into a game that Jason, you wanted to bring today. So we like to spend some time talking about games that mean a lot to us. Something that kind of defined our language, so so to speak, and what we appreciate about games nowadays. It could be something new, it could be something old, but it's something that means a lot to us and something we feel needs to be spoken about. And today, it seems like you brought a little game that I actually truly love. What'd you bring?
Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Dude, I remember, I know this is your game, but I have some really fond memories going into Toys R Us and seeing this game for the first time. I didn't even know that it had come out. I was very behind on when games would release back when I was younger. And I remember I was in Toys R Us. They had a game section, and you had to go past the little bar because they were afraid you'd steal shit. So you had to go past the bar. And I remember there was a line of kids, and they were all playing Super Smash Bros. Melee. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I saw Link fighting against Zelda, and I think Ness was there too, and Marth. And I was like, I didn't even know this existed.
It's so funny. The first time I saw it was actually at a friend's house.
Yeah.
I had these 64 Smash Brothers, and I actually had to return the Smash Brothers 64 because my brother had a nightmare about it. So my grandma returned it and gave me Super Mario 64. Excellent swap, because the original Smash Bros. Was not nearly as good as Melee. So when I first saw Melee, I was like, oh, this is just like the revamped version of that one. No, it was extremely better. It was better in every regard. There's literally nothing that was worse, at least in my opinion.
I agree. I think that I played a lot of Super Smash Bros. And then playing Melee, it was, what is it? You could grab onto ledges. Could you grab onto ledges in Super?
You could, yeah. But you couldn't air dodge. You couldn't spot dodge.
Yeah, you couldn't spot dodge.
You could only roll.
Yeah. It was so much better. I think that the physics were better.
It also was the introduction of Side B.
Yes.
Yeah, there was only 3 specials in the original.
I remember that. I don't think Link had the he had the boomerang. I don't think he had the bow and arrow.
Yeah, he didn't have bows until Melee.
Yeah, no, Melee was the start of my competitive gaming. It was Melee, so I have fond memories. But let's go through. I have a couple questions. So I've kind of changed up these game section questions to kind of make this a little bit more thorough so that we can find out why it means a lot to you. And first, I want to start with the story. How'd you feel about the story at Super Smash Bros. Melee?
As someone who played with action figure toys, I loved it. Yeah. The story was you're playing a fighting game, which is essentially your toy box. Yeah. Master Hand is your hand. You're taking your toys and you're fighting them. Yeah. I loved that. The adventure mode was part of the story, and that was new to this game. Instead of just being like an arcade classic, they gave us stages, like actual platforming stages. And I remember how much they stood out with the Mario Adventure stage, jumping on Goombas and Koopas. I was like, as Link, I'm jumping, stomping. And then, there's the Zelda level, there's the F-Zero level, running Big Blue while you're getting chased by. Yeah. They just did such, none of these are 10 out of 10 levels, but they were so fun to do. And also, they did the great thing about fighting games where they hide stuff. That's what I loved about the story. You beat it fast enough, giant Yoshi appears instead of normal Yoshi. Or Luigi will stomp on Mario when you're supposed to fight him. If you fulfill a certain if you end on a 2 on the time left, he'll stomp on Mario and you'll fight Luigi instead of Mario. And it was just awesome as a kid that made me want to replay it over and over, and I did.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that Super Smash Bros. Introduced a really fun way to kind of almost like Mario Maker your own experiences. So it was cool to see how they represented their games through the Smash Bros. You go and you fight 100 Yoshis or something like that. All of those things were really cool, and they continued doing that throughout their series as it grew, and I don't think you get that in a lot of other fighting games, and if you do, it's because of Smash Bros. Yeah. And then so with that, I wanted to ask about the visuals. So that was the first thing that grasped me, was how different it looked, how flowy the characters were. Link's hat looked sick. How did you like the visuals when you first saw the game?
Adored them and used them as my defining thesis for the console wars as a child on the playground.
Yeah.
I voted for the GameCube being the best looking console.
Yeah.
Which turns out it did actually have the highest power of the three. Didn't know that at the time. I just believed it because I was like, dude, Mario's got stitches on his jeans on the overalls, bro. Like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Like, I loved it. I would always use it as like, this is... I honestly think that this game was responsible for me to start loving that technical side of gaming, because going from Smash 64, which is ugly as sin, like I hate the way the character models look in Smash 64. Sorry, Sakurai, I love you, but I don't know what the hell was going on there. Seeing them in Melee was just jaw-dropping as a kid. That generational jump in graphics was insane.
Yeah, I agree. It is still timeless, looks great. You can play Melee, and you'd be just fine. And moving on to probably the thing that, once you got caught in by the visuals, kept you there, the music.
Yes, the music. This was the first time they did orchestrated music for Nintendo games.
Oh, wow.
And so... Sakurai going off and like requesting that, because he requested for a lot of the like remixes. I think he did incredible on each one. It got me interested in series that I didn't know I would like. But the other thing, it's just another special part about this game is the secrets. Yeah. Holding the R trigger when you select a level, you get the Lost Wood theme when you play the Termina Bay. I do that all the time. And just like having that and being able to like, just their music, it still sticks in my head. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
I think that they've been some of the clear like killers when it comes to music in any Nintendo franchise, and their remixes that they make on those games, like their themes in the further Smash Bros. You can just listen to Smash in its entirety and be just fine.
I was going to say, and the other thing though, just to specifically talk about Melee. The Melee tracks were incredible. I still, even with the new tracks, I still pick Melee's version of the Dreamland stage. Yeah. When you're on the Fountain of Dreams. Yep. It's an incredible music track. Never expected Kirby to sound that epic. But yeah, no, music was incredible for this game.
Yeah, it was amazing. And of course, the meat and potatoes, the thing that you're doing while you're listening to the music, the gameplay. How did you feel about playing Smash Melee versus playing Smash 64?
I was like, this isn't the same game.
Yeah.
It's just so much better.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, it's the introduction of the side B. That was the first thing that stuck out to me as a kid. I was playing this with my buddy Ammon and at his house, and I was just like, Mario's got a cape? I was like, and when like Link did his boomerang, I was like, why is he doing that? I thought I have to stand still for that. And then I got the standstill, and I was like, it's the bow. Yeah. And then they added Young Link, and I was like, oh. Yeah. Like, every character was super sick. There was a lot of chargeable moves. I think gameplay-wise also, the C-stick. Yeah. Doing auto smashes, not having to break your thumbstick, your analog stick, to do that was awesome. And you could charge them. Having that, like, little glow of yellow as you're like, was... Yeah.
I believe so good. In Melee you could change the stick from charge to tilt, right? Or was that
that was only in Ultimate?
In Ultimate, okay, yeah. It's been a while since I played Melee. Yeah, I played mainly Project M. So
also you played the Brawl modded.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but no, it was the C-stick. The introduction of the C-stick was nice. I loved the side Bs. I loved the character roster. That kind of blew my mind. How many different characters there were.
Yeah. And it's funny to think about that, like, it's not that much compared to now. It's 25 characters. But going from 12 to 25 was insane. Yeah.
Was there any other things that stuck out to you gameplay-wise, like on the stages?
I was going to say the adventure mode. Yeah. But we talked about that. But that was a huge jump from just doing arcade mode where you fought everybody.
And then finally, I did want to go into, and I'm sure I got a good idea of this, but what kind of impact did this have on you?
So it had a huge impact because this was the multiplayer game that I played with my cousins, my friends, my family and friends everyone caught these hands. Like, I actually went to competitions. I went to Brawl's midnight launch, and I ended up playing a tournament of Melee, and that's how I got the strategy guide for free.
Yeah.
Like, I loved this game. It was core to, like, my multiplayer experiences.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like, the impact it had, I don't play Smash as much as I used to, mostly because, like, it doesn't have rollback netcode.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's the thing that planted the seed that got me to like fighting games down the road. While it did like give me barriers because I didn't want to play fighting games that weren't like this one.
Yeah.
I do think that sense of fun and that sweatiness and adrenaline that you get when you're one-on-one with someone,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was rooted here because I didn't do it in other games.
Yeah.
Like one-on-one, I always did team shooters and like team games. This was the first game that it was like, it's me versus someone else.
Yeah.
And I adored it. I have probably 1,000 hours in this game. Obviously, it didn't track, but I've played it so many times, and I'm like, anytime that I do play like Ultimate, like I was playing it up in Washington with my friends, feeling that adrenaline and that fun was like, oh man, now I really want to play like Street Fighter and Tekken and stuff because I'm just like, I miss this feeling.
Yeah.
So I think that's its impact, is that it's what got me. It planted the seed for me to love fighting games later in life.
Yeah, I think it did it for a lot of people. Like I said, for me too. I started off as a Smash player. I was in Casa Grande, Arizona. I didn't play a lot of I played fighting games for fun, but never competitively. And there's a small little Smash scene out there. A couple of guys that were really nice, like really, really nice. And so they kind of pulled me in. We started playing. It's kind of how I started having my fighting game nights. My mom would open up the garage when it was a nice day out, and I'd bring out the big screen TV. We'd have chairs, beanbags, and stuff, and I'd have all my friends over, and we'd all just sit and play Smash, and we'd compete. We'd do 2v2s, 1v1s, and we'd practice and practice and practice, and then go to locals. And it was the start of my love for having people over playing fighting games.
Yeah, it's also one of the first games I played. Well, Brawl.
Yeah,
but we played it. That's one of the first games I played with you.
Yeah,
Smash Brothers.
Dude, I love that. But yeah, thanks for bringing Super Smash Bros. Melee. I think that game is, I think, a cornerstone for a lot of people's enjoyment and not just competitive fighting, but just throwing hands with your friends.
Yep,
it is one of the core games. I think that I hope this genre is all around forever. Mm-hmm. It has birthed a lot of different platform fighters, and it should always be like loved and respected. And I think Melee really, really set it off.
I was gonna say, I think while I love the original, I think Melee was the catalyst for Smash Brothers becoming a success.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for that game. It's the end of the podcast, people. So we got two last things for you. Video game vocab and some final credits. So what's today's vocab word? It's in-betweening. Also known as tweening. I don't know if I ever want to call it that.
Yo, that sounds dirty.
Yeah. Is a process in animation that involves creating intermediate frames called in-betweens between two keyframes. The intended result is to create the illusion of movement by smoothly transitioning one image into another. So if you don't know, most like films and video games are 30 to 60 FPS or even higher.
Yeah.
But most film and TVs that you're watching are 24. Mm-hmm. So when people are making an image to sell to you, they have to essentially have 24 pictures of that second. You don't want to draw that exactly the same for everyone, unless you're using pictures, because then motion clarity is there. You don't really need it in between frames. But when you're doing like animation, or especially if you're trying to sell like over-exaggerated movement, like an explosive punch, you've kind of got to make movement in between those seconds. And these in-between frames are that. They're usually not as detailed. They're usually smoother. But that's what kind of gives you that like blur look when something's like extremely smooth, is because of how good the in-between frames are. If it looks clunky, that means that someone's not doing good in-betweens.
Yeah. In-betweens are probably my favorite frames when it comes to animation.
Yeah. I've become a bigger fan thanks to you. I never really like paid attention to them. I was like, oh, those are the shitty frames that get us to the next key one.
Yeah.
And then I was like, actually, no, without those, the keyframes wouldn't shine. Awesome. But yeah, hope you feel enlightened.
Yes. And now we're getting down to the very end. It is time for the final credits. This is the last part of the show where we give you 30 seconds
uninterrupted
to say whatever your heart desires.
Be it salty.
Sweet.
Or say nothing at all.
The mic is yours.
Tell us what's on your mind.
And this is for Jason in 3, 2, 1. Let it go.
So it's the GOATY awards, I don't have a real hot take other than, like, I really do just want to emphasize, I really wish my favorite game wasn't the center of controversy. I don't like that Shadow of the Erdtree is nominated for GOTY when it should be its own category. So I just want to leave it out and say that I believe that's how it should be. And I'm going to comfortably vote for Astrobot this year because that's a new game that came out this year. Love you, FromSoft. Cut.
Game Language is recorded at Grizzly Voices Studios in Mesa, Arizona. Our producers are Jason Flynn and Troy Brown. Our intro music is our personal track, Penguin Symphony. Our outro music is Jump by Snail's House, also provided by Riot Music. Our editor and sound engineer is Adonis Sheffield.